Oh no, it's time to get gifts. And that Dungeons and Dragons nerd in my life, I have no idea what to get them. Stay tuned and I'll help you solve that problem.
What's up, gamers? I'm Josh, and this is Copper Dragon Games. This video is about gift giving. Specifically, what to get that great big Dungeons & Dragons nerd in your life. If you're a great big Dungeons & Dragons nerd, like I am, then you know exactly what to get, because you would be getting it for yourself. So no, D&D nerds, this video is probably not for you. Unless you have a significant other, or a family member, or friend who knows you like D&D and wants to get you something, but has no clue what to get you. In that case, this video might be extra helpful. Or maybe you just want to treat yourself. The more I think about it, the more I think this video might be helpful to you after all. So keep watching. And feel free to show it to those significant others and family members who you know are going to get you something, and you want to make sure they get you something cool. So let's start looking at some gift ideas. For each category, I'll try to get at least one item that is a standard, normal, but very cool item of that type. I'll also try to showcase a cheaper option and a luxury option for those people whose budgets are higher or lower than the norm. If you want to skip all the fanfare and commentary, just look at the description below, and I've got a list of all the items with links directly to where you can purchase them online. And without further ado, let's get started.
So as we dive right into finding the perfect gift for the gamer in your life who loves Dungeons & Dragons, we have to start with the obvious, the Dungeons & Dragons book. This is probably the trickiest gift to get because if your gamer is anything like me, they have probably already got the newest book. You can see here on the screen I already have pulled up the Wizards page on Amazon, and the newest book is Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which has been out for a little over a week as I'm filming this, and I pre-ordered it, so I've already got my copy. So if you're looking to get that for Christmas or the holidays or whatever, it can be a little tricky because we gamers tend to try to snatch these up as soon as they come out, at least the ones that we're most excited about. So you definitely can buy the gamer in your life a new Dungeons & Dragons book, but like I said, it's a little tricky because chances are they may already have it. We are not going to spend too much time on the books themselves because there are tons of other items that are both useful and cool that your gamer will love that don't have anything to do with the books themselves. And the second most obvious gift that you can get a Dungeons & Dragons nerd is dice. And the best thing about buying them dice is that no matter how many we have, most of us still want more. I know my wife still giggles at me when I see new dice and really want new ones, and I have tons already, but they're cool and I like them. So I just end up with tons, and it's okay. And I would be willing to bet that the gamer in your life probably feels the same way. You can never have too many dice. That being said, if you want to get a cool gift, you want the dice to be a little something different. So let me walk you through a couple of cool ideas if you're looking to buy dice for the gamer in your life. We're going to start out with the BezCon Complete Polyhedral D&D dice set, 13 pieces. What makes this set cool is that it has all the typical dice that a Dungeons & Dragons player uses, from D4 all the way up to D20. However, it also comes with a few cool extras, like the D3, which you can see down here in the corner, and going all the way up to a D100 up here on the left that almost looks like a round ball. It's a lot of sides to put on dice. But there are lots of instances where you need to roll a D100 in the game. And typically we make do with the D10 with double digits on each one standing for the 10s, and the D10 without the double digits standing for the 1s. Roll them together and you get a range from 0 to 100, or from 1 to 100. Anyway, in any case, this one clocks in at just around $30, and if you're looking to buy it now, it's on discount due to good old Black Friday sales, quite a bit cheaper. However, considering you may not be watching this during Black Friday deals, I'm going to focus on just the list price for the remainder of the video. So let's say $30 is a little out of your range and you need something a little cheaper, but you still want to get really cool dice. A cheaper option might be to get one of these variety packs. There are tons of them, On Amazon, you can look and see just lots of different options. I have linked here one that comes out around 13 bucks, and you can see lots of different varieties. These are the standard range. You don't get the extra D100, D3, just the D4 through the D20. But these are really cool, especially since with this set, they all are in matching groups. And you get these really cool dice bags that have different characters on them, which is interesting. Kind of a cool perk. But if you're not bound by a cheap budget and you want to get something that is truly unique for the gamer in your life, let's look at a really cool option. And that is, I may be saying this horribly and butchering the name, but I'm going to call it Sun Shadow Arts. Sun Shadow Arts provides really cool handmade resin dice. These are fairly expensive, especially for a dice set, but the artistry that goes into these is amazing, and whatever set you choose, you won't find more like it. So the next category of gift that we're going to cover is miniatures. It's no secret that gamers love their toys, and miniatures are a great gift. They are collectible, they are useful in the game, and much like dice, you can almost never have enough of them. And if you're going to get miniatures, my suggestion would be that you don't get the specific miniatures themselves unless you have an idea of what they want. We gamers can be a little particular when it comes to what monsters we like to use, what brands we like to buy, and so my suggestion would be that instead of going out and buying individual miniatures, with a few exceptions that I'll get to later on, your best bet if you want to get miniatures for the gamer in your life is to go to a site like Miniature Market. Miniature Market is a great place for lots of minis. They also have lots of game accessories. But if you don't know what to buy the gamer in your life, but you know that they love miniatures, you can go to a site like Miniature Market and scroll to the very bottom and look for gift certificates. Right down there. It may not feel as personal as picking out an individual gift, but trust me, if your gamer uses miniatures, they will love a gift card to a site like Miniature Market. At Miniature Market, they can go to whatever game they like, and there are plenty to choose from, and pick out specific miniatures that they need or like for whatever game they happen to be playing at the moment, and purchase them one at a time or in bulk. The minis on here range from just a few bucks a piece. You can see this group of goblins here for $4.49, all the way up to some fairly expensive models. Well, maybe not in this range. Apparently Pathfinder models are pretty cheap even for the big ones. Anyway, we'll get to the big daddy of miniatures in a few minutes. But before we go on, let's look at specifically Pathfinder packs. If you're not sure what to purchase and you don't want to go with a gift card, a pretty good backup plan is to go for one of the booster packs for one of the collectible Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder sets. If you've ever had a sports fan in your life who collected basketball or baseball cards, this is kind of the same idea, but for miniatures instead. You get a randomized pack of minis with some rares, some commons, but they all come in a group, and you never know what you're going to get out of a box. You can snatch these up for between $10 and $15, depending on where you're looking, and there are tons of different sets to choose from with lots of different themes. I just happened to put this one up there because it came up first in my search results, but there are lots to choose from. And so you can get a box, you may get them something that is amazing, you may get something that is just okay, but because it's a randomized pack, there's always that possibility that they will come away with something amazing, and I can guarantee you they'll be excited to receive it and to open it to see what's inside. Now, I mentioned a few minutes ago the granddaddy of all miniatures. This can be pretty tough to find, but if you're looking for the granddaddy of all miniatures, you can't go wrong with purchasing the Colossal Red Dragon that came out, I want to say 2008-ish. Let's see if my memory is serving me correctly. No, 2006. I was fairly close though. This is a colossal miniature. In fact, it probably shouldn't even be called a miniature. In fact, if you pay attention to the intros to my videos, you can actually see the black dragon in this series sitting above my left shoulder. And in comparison to most miniatures that stand at around 28 millimeters high, it is massive. I've used it several times on the tabletop, and every time it comes down, the reaction of players is priceless. I say all this about the black dragon, but the red dragon is actually even bigger. And as you can see, it's out of print here. I have seen these sell for over $600 though. So this is definitely the luxury item in this category. Just for kicks, I'm going to run back over to the miniature market and see if they have any in stock. So it looks like they're selling theirs for $450. It is huge, it is collectible, it looks amazing. It's great to have up on your shelf as a display piece for your game, even if you're not using it currently. And if I ever have a chance to get my hands on one of these for, well, a lot less than what they're selling for now, I will snatch one up. So if you come across one at a bargain price, or if you just have a budget that can handle it, I guarantee you the gamer in your life will be amazed that you were able to get one of these for them. Next we'll look at some terrain. Now, miniatures are awesome, but they're only as good as the scenery that you put around them. You can do plenty with some spare paper and a 1-inch grid, but there's nothing like a table full of gorgeous terrain to really make your game come alive. If you're looking for terrain that you can use straight out of the box without any preparation, you can't go wrong with the Battlefield in a Box line. I've been using these products for quite a while in my Warhammer games, but they also slot in very nicely to Dungeons and Dragons games as well. Although some of them have very specific science fiction features, most are generic enough that you could run them in a sci-fi game as well as a Dungeons and Dragons game. These come in at around $25. Some of the bigger ones are a little more than that, 30, 40. You can also see a few of these pieces displayed in my intro videos over my right shoulder. Is it my right shoulder? Yes, over my right shoulder. The best thing about these is that they are ready right out of the box. They are sturdy, they're durable, and they're pre-painted. So the gamer in your life could literally take them right out of the box, put them on the tabletop, and play with them in that exact condition without any assembly right out of the gate. The con to these, unfortunately, is that they are really meant for wargaming rather than Dungeons and Dragons. So you won't find any grids on these. You won't find anything about them that's specific to Dungeons and Dragons. They just make the tabletop look good. So they're decorative. The next thing we'll look at is our slightly more budget option, which is the Dungeon Tiles range. This is actually produced by Wizards of the Coast, so it is quote-unquote official. These are slightly less expensive than some of the more decorative Battlefield in a Box terrain. These are little cardboard tiles that come in little pieces like this. They're thick and fairly sturdy, but also kind of bendable. They come in a range of themes, from your generic dungeon tiles to some wilderness options. You can get these a little cheaper than the Battlefield in a Box terrain. And unlike the Battlefield in a Box terrain, these are 2D, so they're flat. They don't add a lot of height to the tabletop. They are less decorative, although the artwork on the tiles is pretty good. The big pro is that they actually come with the 1-inch grid on the tiles, so they are functional in addition to being decorative on the tabletop. You can see you can get these on Prime for around $20, but you can also get them used for less than that. And even some of the sets, like the Wilderness tiles, are around $16, $17 just on Prime. So these are marginally less expensive than the Battlefield in a Box. Now, if you do want to go luxury with terrain, the next product I'm going to show you is not technically luxury. It's not that the terrain is so much better than any of the other terrain out there. It's just that this product gives you lots of terrain and lots of other stuff with it. And that is the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry starter set. These are going for $340. That is not cheap. However, the cool thing about this product is that you're not just getting terrain. Yes, you do get a lot of terrain pieces that you can use for your game. Lots of walls and barricades and ladders and all sorts of mess down there. But the great thing about this product is not that the terrain is so much better than everything else. The great thing is you get terrain plus a bunch of miniatures, plus a bunch of dice. Although, granted, they're all D6s, so they're not fancy Dungeons & Dragons dice. But still, you get dice. But the other cool thing is it's actually a complete board game in and of itself. So not only are you getting all the terrain, all the miniatures, all the dice that you can use immediately in your Dungeons & Dragons game, you also get to try an entirely new type of game that focuses on skirmish combat between two squads of combatants. I have to admit, I haven't actually played this, but I do have some friends who have, and they highly recommended it. And if I can ever scrounge up $340, I may jump into this someday myself. What some might consider a downside for a set like this is that these sets generally don't come pre-painted. So unless you get it used and somebody painted it ahead of time, what you get is going to be a bunch of sprues that you have to clip out, assemble, and then paint yourself. For a lot of gamers, that is more than half the fun, just being able to decorate and paint and take up the artistic side of the hobby. But for others, maybe not such a big sell. So how artistic that gamer is might play a big role in whether or not they appreciate a product like this. Alright, so let's talk about clothing and apparel. There was a time in my life when I could not imagine being excited about getting a t-shirt for Christmas. But I've matured since then, and now I think it's actually pretty cool when people get me hoodies or t-shirts or what have you that have really interesting things on them that line up with my values and hobbies and other things that are important to me. I actually got one of these really cool alignment hoodies for my birthday about a month ago. Got to pause to give a shout out to Kate and Mark who purchased it for me, and also to say congratulations on that new baby girl. For the uninitiated, an alignment hoodie is simply a piece of clothing that advertises your alignment for anyone to see. And if you don't know what an alignment is, it is kind of like the Dungeons & Dragons version of a Myers-Briggs score. It tells how lawful or chaotic you are, or falling somewhere in between, how good or evil you are. And I know that chaotic good is quite common, so I use that for the video. My alignment, whenever I take those silly little tests online, usually comes out to neutral good. So I actually wore the hoodie for the video. In any case, these are simple hoodies in different colors that show off the alignment on the hoodie, and also a quick description of what that alignment means for chaotic good in this case. Bad laws were meant to be broken. I can't tell you the number of times I've been out walking around and people have randomly stopped me to read what was on my hoodie, and often to say, I'm a gamer too. Awesome hoodie. Love D&D. It's not often that I end up talking about Dungeons & Dragons when I'm walking through the grocery store, but when I wear this hoodie, it happens. These come in at around $40. That's not including shipping, so I'm going to call it 40. It's probably a little more than that. That's a little higher than the typical item that I've promoted here in this video up to this point. But not to worry, we'll go into a more budget option next. This t-shirt is one that I don't have, but Don't Hate the Flayer, Hate the Game is hilarious. For those who don't know, a Mind Flayer is a really creepy, evil, bad guy in the game of Dungeons & Dragons that looks a little, or a lot, like one of the villains from one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Mind Flayers are a classic Dungeons & Dragons villain, and you can't go wrong putting one of these on your chest in the form of a t-shirt. For a luxury option, there really aren't many, to be honest. But if you really, really want to spend some extra money on your Dungeons & Dragons player and you really want to get them some clothes, why not grab them an official Dungeons & Dragons hoodie with the logo, a little D20 down here at the bottom with the ampersand on there. It has the dice going down the back. I gotta be honest, this is not my jam, especially not for $90. But if I really wanted a hoodie that had the Dungeons & Dragons logo on it, this would be the way to go. Alright, bonus section. So there's a couple of items that I wanted to highlight here that didn't really fit into any of the other categories, and why not have a bonus section? So let's start out with these really cool cards that are on Etsy. There are lots of these that are actually themed for Dungeons and Dragons. They're not extra expensive or anything, $5 or so, plus shipping. My wife actually got me one of these for my birthday just a little while back that talks about the party gathering around the crackling flames of the fire and laughter filling the air as we recount our recent adventures. And then on the inside of the card it shows a little D20 with a number and says that I leveled up. So that was a birthday card. But there are some of these that don't have any real text associated with them, like this particular card that has just the different symbols representing the different classes of D&D. A card like this is a really nice way to add a little flair to whatever gift you're giving them, even if the gift itself doesn't have anything to do with Dungeons & Dragons. If you know that they like D&D, you can grab one of these cards and attach it to whatever gift you want, write a little something nice in there, and make it an extra special gift. These might be especially appropriate if you get one of the gift cards that I mentioned earlier. Just print out that certificate, tuck it in the card, and hand it off, and they'll get a D&D themed card with a miniatures market gift card inside. I can't imagine being disappointed with that type of gift. We also have some cool swag from 2 Minute Tabletop. 2 Minute Tabletop is a website run by a guy named Ross McConnell. He makes really awesome artwork. Even though I've only used his free products, I do believe in supporting the artists whose work I use in my online Dungeons & Dragons games, and I want to give him a shout out here in hopes that you will check out his website and check out some of the cool swag that he has here. I want to point out especially this Forgotten Crypt coffee mug that has drawn my eye. If you're going for a gift that's D&D themed but may not actually be useful in the game, this is a great example of something that would be thematically on point and also really exciting to a D&D player. And lastly, before we wrap up, I mentioned just a few minutes ago my online Dungeons & Dragons game. I do play those using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. Foundry is relatively new to the virtual tabletop scene. However, it's a product that I've started using just this year and love it far more than any other virtual tabletop I've ever experimented with, and I'm certainly not the only one. The community is strong and growing, and the development of this product is fueled by a lot of energy in both the developer as well as the community surrounding it. One drawback, however, that I've heard people complain about is that it is about a $50 purchase. There are other virtual tabletops that are quote-unquote free, but they lock a lot of their features behind a payment model where you have to subscribe and pay monthly or yearly. And Foundry Virtual Tabletop gives you all the features that those other companies are giving that they require you to pay monthly for a single purchase. If the gamer in your life is playing online and is using a free version of software that has most of the cool features stripped out of it because they're not paying a monthly fee, or if they're paying $100 a year to run that cool software at the highest level, buy them a copy of Foundry Virtual Tabletop and give them that $100 back, or let them experience the features that everybody else is getting to use, but that they can't afford because they're not willing to pay a monthly fee to get to them. I switched from a competing virtual tabletop back in April or so and have been using Foundry ever since, and I can tell you that I have no intention of ever returning to a yearly payment model. Foundry has spoiled me to no end, and you could use this holiday opportunity to spoil that gamer in your life in just the same way.
So there it is. Lots of gift ideas for the gamers in your life, or for you if it's time to treat yourself. I'm glad you joined me today, and I hope you liked the video. If you like what you saw, learned something new, or just enjoyed hanging out, I hope you'll click that subscribe button below. Come back and join me next time.